What is going on, Sheep Army? This is your boy Random Arts coming with a quick video. And on this video, guys, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, guys, throughout the cycles, throughout the years, and also how Bitcoin typically have a false bounce before the halving. So we're going to be discussing this in just a few. So before I get into it, guys, like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinion about Bitcoin. So the news, I'm pretty sure you guys already seen the news, so I'm not even gonna bore you with that. Um, with the overall market, so pretty much the SEC is suing Binance. So Binance throughout all this is taking probably the biggest hit out of all the coins. Down to 277. I believe today it was down even further than that. But Bitcoin currently at $25,000, and I see a lot of people really losing their mind. Now, I get it because when I was, in my first bear cycle, seeing the price action of Bitcoin doing what it's doing, it freaked me out, and I thought, well, crypto is dead. This was just a fab, especially like I mentioned, if you're just getting into crypto, seeing all this stuff happening for the first time could be a little scary. So luckily you got me to be able to guide you guys through this. So let's talk about how the cycle even started. So let's break it down with the first cycle. First cycle of Bitcoin that actually took place from 2009 all the way to 2013. And as you can see it here, if you were able to get, even $10 worth of Bitcoin, and if you still held it to this day, you would be a very, very rich person. So taking a look at how Bitcoin, as far as like evolved, look at the price, it started going up. Eventually got to 9 cents. And remember, this came from roughly what I want to say like 0.20 and a 7 was the starting price of Bitcoin. But like I mentioned, if you purchased at least $10 worth of Bitcoin and still had it to this day, you would be very, very rich. So, and the crazy concept of Bitcoin, because look at the price now, $2. Let me slow it down a little bit. $2. Now it's at $8.80, and this was by May, uh, May 24th, 2011. So the concept of Bitcoin, guys, like I always mentioned, like as more and more volume goes into the crypto, the higher the price is gonna get, because all it is, like I mentioned, is just simple supply and demand. So through that first cycle, guys, Bitcoin, had its initial run up, getting all the way to $31. So again, people thought it was over. And look what would just continue to happen with Bitcoin. Like it gotten from 31 now all the way down to like $5. It's even climbing even lower. Got down to $2. And it just trucking along, trucking along. So right here, guys, this downward trend, this is the bear market for the very first within the very first cycle of Bitcoin. Because the way that the cycle will happen is, of course, the parabolic move. Then once they have this blow off top, it has this decline, in price, where that is considered, aka the bear market. And within that, it went from $31, gotten to a low of about $1.93, which is a huge dump. So I could imagine that people around the time were saying the same thing that most people are saying now, like it's done. Bitcoin will never get up to the all-time highs, and look what just happened. This is right here is the false bounce, because people were like, "Yay, Bitcoin! We're gonna go see, we're going to all-time high." Kind of like how people were just a few weeks ago when Bitcoin, or a few months ago when Bitcoin reached 30,000. People was at like a euphoric high, saying like the The bear market is over with. Bull market just started. Let's go. And that's why I always mention to you guys within my channel, like, hey, we're still in the bear market. You know, until the halving happen, nothing is not going to change based upon previous cycle. And you could see it happen right here. So boom, false bounce. You know, they go the bounce right here. It was false, got destroyed. Now the reason why this got destroyed was because of Mount Gox. It was one of the biggest exchange at the time, back in 2012 to maybe about 2017, I want to say. But they got hacked, and some of the Bitcoin were just constantly just getting dumped. So it's not the worst news to happen as far as with Binance right now getting sued by the SEC. Like, Coinbase got sued by the SEC as well too. So it's not one of the worst things to happen. So compared to news that happened before in the past, like that's not even comparable. So right here, this blue line right here, this indicates the first halving of Bitcoin. So after the first halving of Bitcoin, you see the price of Bitcoin just starts to grind. And this is one thing that I always mention to you guys. Like, even though, like, I always mention like Bitcoin halving, there is going to be time in between before Bitcoin start to have that nice rally up. The supply shock doesn't happen immediately. It takes time for the supply shock to be able to take into effect, and you start to see it, as the chart starts to progress. So boom. All right, just now it just passed the previous all-time high, which was right around like 30 something dollars. So just break out, and from there get this nasty dump right here. And from my first video, as far as when the top of Bitcoin, it typically is about like 15 months. So 15 months from the halving. So November 12th was the halving date. So take a look. Now this would actually signify a year since the halving. So we know that this top right here, is not the actual top of Bitcoin. So this is like the very first dump that it's gonna have. But around 15-month-ish or so. I think this one took maybe about like 17 months to reach the top, but it reached the top during this cycle, which is the second cycle. Top of Bitcoin got all the way up to $1,200, which is incredible. And again, after the blow off top, guess what ended up happening? We go into a bear market. So look at the price of Bitcoin starts to climb down. Like, we're seeing like significant lows here. This is 2014. So bear market is gonna last all the way up into the next halving, which is gonna happen in 2016. Now this is when I actually entered into the crypto market. So look at the low right here, $182. Like, people thought, okay, at that time, Bitcoin's over with. Bitcoin's done with. This is, 2015. This is the low, 185. A year before the halving. And guess what ended up happening? You're going to see Bitcoin. Look, it's going to start to go up. Once it starts to go up, here it is right here. Here's the bounce. Boom. Now people are thinking like, so this is the low. And this is the bounce. This is the false bounce that it's gonna have. False bounce followed by major rejection. It climbed back up again. A false bounce, double topped right here. It just couldn't do it. Take a look. Boom. Here's the halving. Remember, false bounce. And it had a little grinding action. Now this is July 2016. Bitcoin halving just occurred. So now this is really the sign that the bull market has occurred. So keep fast forwarding it to it. I think I got in Bitcoin right around here. And across like the $800 mark. I got in. And I'm not gonna lie, this dump right here, it did scare me because I was like, oh crap. I'm losing money. And I think that's probably was the reason why I think I came back and I sold, because I had like 2.5 Bitcoins at the time. And once it got like to the 2000 range, this is where I was selling. I sold out because I was scared that it was gonna have this dump again. So I was like, let me just take my profit, because I remember the feeling of being up on this and taking a dump. I was like, oh crap. Of course, it keeps going. And from the halving, about 15 months before the true top is actually set, so give or take. So Bitcoin, and I was so sick, guys, when I seen this just kept going. I was like, oh my God. I kept doing the math in my head, how much money I would have had with my 2.5 Bitcoin had I held. So boom, got the blow off top. And of course, now we go into a bear market again. Like I mentioned, guys, same cycle over and over again. So now within the bear market, this is now 2018. And I was so sick, guys, because I started buying on these dips. And it seemed like every time I bought the dip, it just kept going lower and lower and lower. And this is when, around the time that I was actually buying Dogecoin as well too. I had previously bought Dogecoin during like 2016, 2017, but I did sell those at the time. But I started rebuying it because they were so cheap. So you get this bottom right here, Bitcoin gets down to like $3,000. And what do you have here? Getting a bounce. Look at Bitcoin starting to have this bounce. Oh, I remember people, and I was one of the people. I was like, okay, Bitcoin is back. Let's go. Bull market is back. Yeah. Then once it got to like 14, I was like, oh man, we about to break again. And nope, we got this nasty candle. And I want to say it was dealing with Mount Gox again. That's the reason we went down. And of course, we just chop, chop, chop. And I was like, we gotta hold this 9,000 level. I remember doing the TA. I'm like, if we just hold this $9,000 level, then we should be good. And once we cracked over, I was like, you know what? Crypto is dead. And what's the use of it? So after that is when I actually, I still was watching the market a little bit. But what really broke me was this death candle right here. I was like, yep, I'm done with crypto. And I remember too, the day that it got this low, something in me was telling me just go ahead and just rebuy crypto. Cause I had about like $6,000 just to play with at the time. and I had two options. One option was to invest that whole 6,000 into crypto. It was actually more, a little more than 6,000, but to invest into crypto because it would have got me like 2 Bitcoin. Or take that money, invest it into real estate, into a real estate fund. Unfortunately, I chose the latter and I invested that money into a real estate fund. I mean, it is doing good. It is helping with tax purposes and stuff like that. But yeah, having over 2 Bitcoin, that would have been, the flex. And especially for right now. So I didn't do it. That very same day, that's when I went into the fund. And yeah, and the rest is history. So then, of course, you got this Bitcoin halving. It was so close to, guys, so close to the halving. Just a few more months. So this is where the second bottom happened, because remember, this was the false bounce followed by the retracement. You could kind of say this is a double bottom. And of course, the Bitcoin halving happened. And guess what we have here? It just continue to chop around. Remember that delay for the halving, for the supply shock. And once that took place, Bitcoin just still chopping around. 19, boom, it had the breakout over 20. And the rest is history. Bitcoin just continued to keep going. Of course, it did this. It's gonna do the double top. And keep in mind too, like each having the amount of Bitcoin that's being introduced into the market, it cuts in half. So imagine having the same amount of demand, but your supply that you have it cuts in half. So that means the price, theoretically, the price that you're charging, you would have to charge more to be able to meet the demand. And this is how Bitcoin, year after year after year, or cycle after cycle, it constantly goes up. And, we have this blow off top right here. So, of course, now that signifies the bear market. And this was 2022, 2021, 2022. And boom, cross below 25K. So 2022, we're like, hey, we just got to hold 19. Boom. Then we made this low right here of 15. Now, guess what everybody else is thinking? Like, once 15 happened, start seeing a bounce on Bitcoin. Like, oh my God, the bull market has returned. Let's go. We're going to the moon, all-time high soon. And boom, we get another Black Swan event that just happened today with Binance. And guess what? It could actually still chop around. But if it does fail, look, guys, we still have this bottom right here. So this is the false bounce. False bounce, it may retrace all the way back down over here, or something like that. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But just know this is the false bounce as far as for the bull. Next thing is to happen is the Bitcoin halving. We may see a little bit run up towards that event, but just know that is a thing. So, know this video is a little bit unorthodox and it's a little bit longer than what I intended it to be. But this way you guys could actually see the cycle of Bitcoin and, for you guys not to be so fearful, because fear typically, whenever you're trading off of fear, you're going to make emotional decision, and typically it's going to be the wrong decision. So what am I doing? And this is not financial advice or suggestion for you guys to be able to copy me in any way possible. What I'm doing right now is just accumulating some of my best favorite assets. Bone. Like, I'm accumulating more bone. Like, it I was hoping it got down to like 70 cents, but bone really didn't take that big of a hit compared to how the other ones did. So if we get the 76, 60 cents or even harder flush, I would actually be happy with that. So yeah, guys, so take a look. Everything's on sale, everything's on discount. We still have some ways until the halving happen. So until then, like I mentioned, 2023 for me, it is a dip buying opportunity. So let me know down in the comment section, did this make sense? I know this is, it's 4 a.m. I haven't gotten any sleep all day. Like, I just came, from a business trip, came home making this video for you guys. So if I don't sound coherent, um so let me know down in the comment next time I just make a video after I get some sleep. But yeah, guys, Random Arts signing off. Hopefully you enjoy your morning. Like this video, subscribe. Peace.